Hey, Apostles family, we are continuing in our season of Lent. Lent is, of course, preparing us for Easter joy. And what Lent does, it sort of teaches us and instructs us and leads us to remove and escape and pull away from things that keep us from Jesus, that keep us from sensing our need from Him. And one of the ordinary things that Christians have done in history in order to do this is practice silence and solitude. Silence and solitude, not in a way of escape, but in a way of being quiet with the Lord. Now, this is important and hard. It's important because what silence and solitude does is that, let's say you're reading your Bible and you read a psalm and you read a truth from the psalm saying that the Lord's love is steadfast and everlasting, and just sitting with that. Let's say you set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes and you're just sitting quiet with that truth. Now, what makes that hard is sitting quiet makes us vulnerable. It makes us vulnerable for all the ghosts and goblins in our own inner life, all of our wounds, all of the messages that we've digested from this world that tells us that we're not lovable, that our failures keep us from being someone who's worthy. And so all of those voices come to the surface when we're quiet, which is why we don't like quiet very much. We don't even like standing in line, waiting for coffee, without reaching for our phone and looking for an escape. We don't like quiet evenings. We need to reach for Netflix. Even if we're walking through a supermarket and there's no music going on, we're just wanting anything to make noise because we don't like quiet. We try as best as we can to escape from quiet. But what we're trying to do in silence and solitude is actually resist reaching for escape. Because while those escapes may keep us safe from the ghosts and goblins coming to the surface and having to reckon with them, those escapes also keep us from being healed. Because if we never let those ghosts and goblins and shadows come to the surface, they don't go away. They just get bigger and take different shapes and forms. And they keep us from experiencing the love of Christ. They desensitize us from the love of Christ. And so what silence and solitude does, it just makes us vulnerable, both to what's going on the inside, coming to the surface, makes us vulnerable in that way, but also it makes us vulnerable to Christ. Puts us in the way of His healing. Puts us in the way of hearing His words, I love you. You're my son, you're my daughter. Well done, good and faithful servant. We hear those messages. And they become overriding messages from everything that we hear and digest and listen to in this world. So, I want to encourage you, there's going to be some resources coming this week in our Stop, Look, and Listen. It's going to be prompting you to read a few articles, listen to a few things, look at a few things, hoping that it helps us along the way to be able to sit quietly and listen to what Christ has for us in this season. All right, friends, I'll see you on Sunday.